So the actions that are before you today include 5 items. The first, adopt the South County Traffic Relief Effort Project Scoping Summary and Alternative Screening Report. I think we sent a record, but I'm only going to call it the South County Report now. And its recommendation to advance Alternative 22 Untold, Los Patrones Parkway Untold Extension. Direct staff to collaborate with the County of Orange to advance Alternative 22 Untold, Los Patrones Parkway Untold Extension as a county major thoroughfare and return to the board with a project development plan in conjunction with regional partners. Number 3, support Caltrans and OCTA efforts to advance high occupancy vehicle lane improvements on Interstate 5 between Avenida Pico and the San Diego County line. Support OCTA and Caltrans effort to complete the Ortega Highway widening in San Juan Capistrano. And then a final action that we're recommending to the board today, direct staff to collaborate with Caltrans and OCTA to implement the South County Report recommendations, which concludes the agency's efforts to identify solutions for a southerly extension of the 241 toll road.
But what is not clear, and I'm hoping that we can make clear, is whether this concludes the South County Traffic Relief Project. That's what I am not clear on, and I think it's not super clear in these reports, and I think for the public and for the board here, we need to know if that project is concluded, and this is what is moving forward only.
Yeah, so
Mr. CEO, please.
Yeah, thank you, Director Ward. So that's the intent of the 5th action that you're asking for. Direct staff to collaborate with Caltrans and OCTA to implement the South County Traffic Relief Report recommendations, which concludes, or maybe a better word would be, and conclude the agency's efforts to identify solutions for a southerly extension of the 241 toll road. That's clearly the intent. I mean, this has been 25 years we've been looking at this. And today marks the day where that effort comes to an end, because we've come up with a good solution that serves the needs in a foreseeable future. It's in a way that's supported by technical data. It's supported by what we heard from the public and the public input that we got in this process. So that's the intent of that item. We're currently in a Caltrans process. Alternative 22 doesn't require us to remain in a Caltrans process going forward. So that's the point of staff recommendation 2, collaborate with the County of Orange, because this will be a county project. The county will be the lead agency for moving forward with that. But we're going to work with Caltrans and OCTA, and then in item 2 with the county to move this forward.
And I think rather than sending out specific letters to specific agencies, et cetera, maybe just a formal report out by TCA acknowledging, what we need to say would be more appropriate.
That can be done offline without adding it to the agenda or to the motion.
I think, well, there's probably going to be, I would assume, a press release going out, and that could be something noted within the press release to state that, and that goes out to everyone. That way we're not overlooking any entity or person or agency out there that we would need to notify. It goes out to the world. So that's something that I think we could certainly take care of within the press release.
Okay, so we can encompass that in the direction to staff.
Yes,
without a formal motion on that.
Yes, we could. We'll work with Director Ward in order to get wording into the official statement that goes out from the agency.
Okay, I just think that would be important. If we're saying as a board that we're stopping this process and we're moving on with this, it's important to clearly state that, especially for the public. If we're going to stop building 241 toll road through South Orange County cities, I think if we stop, I think the public will also stop the opposition, and I think that's just important that we do that at this time and not let that linger.
Okay, and again, I think this is actually included in item number 5, but we've heard you, the staff has heard you, and I'm sure they will clarify in the press releases and such that do go out. Now I'll turn next to Chair Christina Shea, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate everyone's comments. This is a very important day. I do agree with Director Ward in regard to tightening up the language a bit. I was going to propose, and actually I had suggested in our committee meetings that we would propose perhaps an MOU, because I know the community in San Clemente are very concerned. They want to know that this is a final approval, and I think that the document could be tightened up just a bit. And my thought was that we could recommend which formally concludes and finalizes in item 5, which is, I think, the appropriate place to add this. It's just to, which it says, which concludes the agency's efforts. We could add 2 words, which formally concludes and finalizes the agency's efforts to identify solutions for southerly extension of 241 Toll Road. I think it just tightens it up a bit. I think it addresses your concern. I think the letters certainly are something the staff would be sending out anyways. Our press releases are going to be very clear. But if we could add those 2 words, and if the maker of the motion would be supportive of that, just be in item 5.
Okay, and I appreciate the comments. I just don't want to be too redundant. I think concludes and finalizes are pretty much the same thing. So we would just be repeating something
We could
similar.
say formally concludes. I just think it needs to be tighter.
Formally concludes is fine. I'm happy with that.